ALISON MAU Last updated 0753, September 17, 2017. ALISON Mau If you've already cast your vote, good for you, you can relax. You'll be here, chowing on the popcorn, till the end. Opinion: oh, to have the confidence of the early voter. More than 250,000 of us have already cast votes with 6 days of campaigning still to go, and although the major parties say that policies are now out for all to see, the ructions continue, and I just can't look away. While Bill English and Jacinda Ardern insist their manifestos present a clear choice, steady as she goes from National and the wave of change from Labour, the vacillating polls show that Kiwis are confused by the options, and, unable to separate the two where policies meet in the middle, are changing the colours day to day. It's tricky ground for the politicians. Ardern promised to be relentlessly positive and has stuck to it, leaving her front bench in waiting to get amongst it. Foreign Affairs spokesperson David Parker admitted as much to me on Friday, when he tore into National over the revived Saudi sheep deal scandal. National's new attack had parodied Labour's "Let's do this" campaign with another message: "Let's tax this." National has no such restrictions. In the space of 15 seconds, its new attack ad featured a picture of a family home to represent a capital gains tax already ruled out by Labour for family homes, a petrol pump for a regional fuel tax, and glasses of water, beer, milk, wine, and juice on a domestic kitchen bench top to represent a water royalty. No images of massive irrigation schemes or herds of dairy cows. Oh wait, there was a single flatulent cow for the fart tax. Never mind that 95% of the methane actually comes out of the other end. Read more. Jonathan Milne. This is not Trivial Pursuits. Bill English's last pitch to you to the prime ministerial pop quiz battle of the election. Pizza makers Alison Mau. Dirty streams, dirty politics. Damian Grant. A hard act to follow. Stacey Kirk. How to blow an election. Incessant banging on the tax drum by National had its effect. This week Labour called out the lies but pulled back, promising to stow the results of its tax working group until after the 2020 election. They had to do it, and Grant Robertson had to be the one to deliver the news, given he wants to be taken seriously as a potential finance minister. Jacinda Ardern. Full interview of all the taxes, levies, royalties that haunt National's dreams. The water royalty appears to be the scariest, given the amount of freelance muscle now fronting. Federated farmers, who loathe the idea of paying for water, have closed in like a phalanx of black-suited bodyguards. They made a reasonable start with a pledge by 8 farming leaders to make all New Zealand rivers swimmable. Initially well received, it lost its gloss a little when it became clear there was no plan, no clear target, and no timeline attached. A new voice was needed. Lloyd Downing, the new face of farming's campaign against a water royalty, says the sector is cleaner now. He doesn't throw his rubbish straight in the river like his dad did. Enter Waikato farmer Lloyd Downing, chosen as the face of a mass protest planned for Morrinsville tomorrow. He's just the ticket, articulate in the casual way Kiwis love in the fed farmers' brass canteen match. Farmers are being unfairly targeted, he reckons, and just want a fair go. Downing acknowledges farming is having an impact, but look how far we've come, he says. When asked for evidence, he tells the story of his old dad, back when Lloyd was a lad, taking the farm's rubbish and chucking it in the river. I used to shoot at the used light bulbs, he says, as they floated away. Nobody does that anymore, but Kiwis are past the point where anecdotes from long ago will suffice. 70% of New Zealanders now support the idea that businesses which use large amounts of water should pay. While we accept many farmers are doing better, we are yet to see any measurable improvement in our freshwater quality. Just yesterday, water scientist Professor Mike Joy posted in frustration that water quality in NZ rivers is not improving. It is declining. Bill English. Full interview, and the arguments are not new. Farmers have too much political power, said right-wing commentator Matthew Hooton in North-South magazine in 2015. They want free water, they don't want to pay. And if I was a farmer, it's exactly what I would argue. But you wouldn't make the case for fertilizer, would you? There's no other input they don't pay for, except the sun. It's not a sentiment we'll see on the placards when Lloyd Downing leads the farming faithful down Morrinsville's main street on Monday, I'm guessing. But hold on, why Morrinsville anyway? Of the 1.2 million hectares of farmed land in the Waikato, only 20,000 hectares are under irrigation. It's not the region you'd be looking at as an epicenter of rural outrage. Jacinda and Bill face Stuff's pop quiz. Oh, that's right, it's Jacinda Ardern's hometown. So close to election day, and so dirty. If you've already cast your vote, good for you, you can relax. You'll be here, chowing on the popcorn, till the end. Homes at Home. Paul Holmes and Steph Mohasnana Any Milne at Marna Lodge in 2005. The private art collection of the late Sir Paul Holmes will go on sale at Auckland's Gowlangsford Gallery next week. Alison Mau looks back on her visits to Paul and Lady Deborah's Hawke's Bay home, Marna Lodge. Marna Lodge is a bit like Paul, quite grand, but completely unpretentious. A warm, family place with wide hallways dotted with quietly expensive antiques. Nothing flashy, everything solid and comfortable, and tasteful. I first went to Marna Lodge more than a decade ago, in circumstances that were so typical of Paul's generosity. It was 2005, during the short reign of the Paul Holmes Show at Prime TV. In the newsroom one day, Paul stumbled on a kerfuffle. Our camera operator, Steph, was getting married in a few weeks and her wedding venue had cancelled her booking without explanation. She was distraught. The rest of us crowded round to console her, but typically Paul had the answer on the spot. Get married at my place. The wedding was as beautiful as the venue, but what Steph remembers most was the way Paul looked after her nana Any Milne, delighting her with a personal tour of the grounds on his quad bike. 10 years later, IMCED, a charity night at Marna Lodge hosted by Lady Deborah, who, with her usual kindness, let us stay the whole weekend at the big house. Paul had passed away 2 years earlier, but his presence was still intense in the book-lined study. It was easy to imagine him there, writing his op-eds with the wood burner roaring away behind him. You could spend hours gazing at the linters and frizzles, or the huge collection of original cartoons by his great friend Tom Scott, but for me the best discovery was hidden away in the tiny loo just near the front door. A framed letter, dated 1976 and signed by the Director-General of Radio New Zealand, berating Paul for making international calls to the Archbishop of Canterbury and putting them live to air. It's a scathing 5 paragraphs that culminates in his dismissal. You can regard your recent behaviour as having put an end to your usefulness to Radio New Zealand. I can just see Paul gleefully giving it a proper home in the dunny. Alison Mau is the host of Radio Live Drive, 36 p.m. weekdays. Sunday start times.